Welcome to the Retirement Roadmap by SHP Financial, a podcast empowering today's retirees and pre-retirees to make well-informed financial decisions that will help you spend more time living and dreaming than worrying and wondering. Join me, Matthew Peck, along with my co-hosts, Derek Gregoire and Keith Ellis, as we share actionable financial strategies and insights, as well as interview top thought leaders in the world of finance, accounting, and estate planning. This is all aimed at preparing you for the retirement you've always dreamed of. Our high-quality holistic planning process has helped thousands of families retire and create what we like to call the ripple effect. The Retirement Roadmap is your guide to financial freedom. Are you ready to get started? Let's go.
Welcome to another edition of the SHP Financial Retirement Roadmap, brought to you by SHP Financial. I'm Derek Gregoire, and joined as always by Matthew Peck, co-founder here at SHP Financial. And today we have a very special guest, someone who's been on the team for, I believe, 8 years.
Almost
8
9,
years now,
yeah.
almost 9.
Yeah.
And we, a lot of folks, everyone who's come into our office and been part of the team, Matt, knows Michelle Short, who is our COO here at SHP Financial. And you're saying, okay, what's the purpose of having your COO on? Well, two things. One, we want to take you behind the scenes here at SHP and kind of let you know how some of this, how things work together and how the culture is built and how the client experience is so strong and how that all started. And also get to know Michelle a little bit, because there's a lot of lessons about life and business that she's learned and taught us over the years. So first and foremost, welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
And so given, obviously you started, was it January of 14?
2014, yes.
If we actually really want to go back, Matt, we hired her in 2013.
Yep.
And then she came to us like a week after hiring us and said, by the way, I'm having a baby.
Yeah, it was interesting timing.
Which was awesome. But Scary, awesome. But the crazy part about Michelle is she's a Wonder Woman with 2 kids, two daughters. Now, are they 9 and 7?
They are 11.
Oh my gosh.
And 8. You were close.
That's all right. Yeah, time does fly.
Trust me,
Two girls.
I get my kids' ages wrong. 2 girls.
Yeah.
Married to Greg, who's an awesome dude.
Thank you, yes.
And so really, before you joined us, I guess, because I remember we interviewed you in 2013. We were like, this is someone different. We've had a lot of interviews. You have to remember back in the first 5-10 years of SHP Financial, from 2003 to 2012-13. I feel like we had a good company.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we always did the right thing, but we didn't really have the business side. So Keith, Matt, and I really had the background of like financial planning,
Yep.
how to do right by the client, but the processes weren't really strong behind the scenes. And so when I remember we interviewed you, it was like, wow, this is a really someone that we've never really had before as a candidate, and we were excited to kind of see where things went. But we didn't initially hire you as a COO. And COO is a Chief Operating Officer. Like, how would you describe a COO?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, I came in as director of operations, right? So it's like, you guys had this vision. I remember you had this vision of where you wanted to be and where you wanted to go. And I think you were just getting your own way. You didn't know how to get there, right? So from my background, running teams, growing teams, implementing processes, procedures, who reports to who has a job description, that was just super important. So I think when we started, there was probably 5 employees-ish. Mm-hmm. Now we're up to, or actually including you, there was probably 8,
But then we actually let go, I think, Mav.
Yeah,
everyone.
were probably 8 total,
Yes.
then contracted a little bit before, the expansion began.
Yeah.
And they were all good people, but we had a consultant come in, and she was basically like, it was really good for us because she got to meet with everyone individually, and she's like, you guys are all on the same page as partners, like meaning Keith, Matt, and myself. But some of the employees, they're good people, but they're there to get the check. They're not really
Absolutely. Buying into the big picture.
Buying into
right?
the big picture of what the clients and so forth. So, but I think this is 10 years into we just had our 10-year reunion, Matt, as you remember.
Yes, absolutely.
And we basically, Giselle Benson was one of our first employees, and we kept her.
Yep.
And I think everyone else had left or let go. And so when Michelle started at that point, it was like starting fresh in a way. We had the business starting to build up, but we had almost as employees starting with a new model.
Yeah, and I think it's taking like, okay, what do we need, and now we're at 42 employees, so it's taking, what do we need, Matt, what are you doing right now that you really shouldn't be doing, and same with you, Derek. So stripping that back and then bringing in the right bodies, the right culture fit for our team was instrumental. And now it's like, okay, so we had this office in Plymouth. How do we duplicate that up in Woburn? How do we duplicate that in Hyannis? And then how do we give everybody the best experience ever? So for me, it's like coming in as director of ops. Yes, let's streamline everything, come up with processes, procedures. This is where we're going to grow. These are our goals. But then it's like really helping you work on the business so that you can focus either more on your families, because your families are young and growing too, and really bring in the next generation for our employees and give everybody a career path. That's super important to us.
Well, let me kind of go back to the term career path. Like, did you, when you first started off, not too long ago, because you're what, 32 now? But point being is that, was that always the long-term goal for you personally? Was the long-term goal of yours to become a COO, and how much was it that you learned at the previous job versus how much did you grow into that role while at SHP?
Yeah, great question. It's not like you go to college and you're like, oh, I want to become a COO someday, right? I knew I wanted to be successful. I went to college for psychology, believe it or not, but I do feel like I do use that sometimes here. But no, it's working my way up. I started out as an administrative assistant, then you go to an executive assistant, then you go to a director of a department.
This is previous SHP.
Previous SHP, yeah, exactly. And it's like, you slowly want to keep growing. And I didn't have children at the time, so it's like, I know where I can go. And I think, I capped out as a senior vice president at my last position, and we had talked about me maybe going down that route of like a COO. So I did, at that point in my career, I started having children. I knew that's kind of, I had kept my eye on the prize, that's kind of where I wanted to go. I think for me, I'm better suited back office, operations, I'm pretty good at systems and all that stuff. So it's not sales. So that was why it was such a good fit for me. But
yeah, absolutely. So what happens now? So in the sense of like, okay, how has your role then changed here too?
Yeah,
so you mentioned you went from executive assistant or EA and now a COO. I mean, if you were director of operations, I guess what's the difference between a director of operations than chief operations officer?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot different. So for me, I feel like I'm more of a partner with you guys on your big vision, right? So it's like you tell me what you need done, and you trust me to get it done, and we just execute it, right? Whereas, director, you're still in the weeds a little bit, but you're still putting in processes and procedures. So we have Mallory now as our director of ops. I would be completely lost without her. She's my right hand on everything. And, I think, you all know you've worked so hard building your business. It's nice for me to be able to take a day off now and know that the office is still going to be running smoothly with me not here. So she's allowed me to have some more flexibility with my family as we grow. But also I can, think big picture more. I'm not in the weeds as much. So whether it be our investment committee that maybe they just want to, just chat with, or our advisory solutions team, I'm always there for them. And I think it's given me more flexibility to help them, as we talk about their career path and their, annual reviews and, whatever else they need from us.
Well, I think a lot of time, myself, Keith, and Matt, it's not that we're ever too important for a task. No. However, back in the day, like a lot of things we were doing, I remember Michelle's like, "Why are you you guys are still answering the phones?"
Yeah, you were answering phones.
And it's not that we shouldn't be like it's beneath us, but it's like you could be doing other things that you're
now,
special.
I would say too, and this is somewhat an exaggeration, but at times we'd answer the phone with a different voice, like, "Oh, hello, Matt's not here right now. Hold on, let me get him."
Yeah.
Oh, hey, what's going on?
But it's like that's not your core competency. You guys shouldn't be doing that. And that's what when I came in,
my voice imitation is not my core competency.
Well, but Michelle, that's the thing is like she's like, why would you? It's not like I'm not good at the hiring process and like the training process and procedures. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm better off like high picture and meeting with clients and just running the business than I am at that.
And you're good at like taking care of your clients, right? So it's like you guys, that's like that's your core competency, taking care of your clients and seeing who else we can help in the community. And I think for me, my client is our team. I come in every day making sure that they're happy, they have what they need. There's never a question about anything that they need here at SHP, and making sure that we are very intentional of how we offer our support to our clients, making sure that they have the best client experience. So I'm constantly working with Giselle, or Mallory, or the new business team to making sure that every client has the best experience ever.
Well, why don't you explain a little bit, like when you say what is the client experience, and
most firms, Matt, most firms are, I would say, at least because we've been lucky enough to meet and help a lot of firms like ours around the country over the years. And we actually run a little mastermind group to help some companies. Michelle, how many, now maybe some companies do, but how many really have a COO?
No, it's
very
rare.
few, right?
It's rare. Yeah.
So
it's
that's,
rare.
and when obviously Michelle's going to share about the client experience, but there's so many things that when we first started out, you think that doesn't really make sense. Like, what is a client experience or culture? What does that really matter in the long run? But it's so important.
It's like, think of the best hotel you've ever been at, right? It's like the feeling you get when you walk into the lobby and you're feeling like you're just being treated so well. And it's like, that's super important to me for our clients. Our clients have saved their whole life. This is their nest egg. We have to take care of it. So it's like making sure that they just feel comfortable with us. We feel like family to them. That's my number one driver. So it could be somebody who maybe heard, saw your TV ad on the weekend, or listened to our podcast, or maybe they came to a seminar to learn more about what they should or shouldn't be doing with their financial, portfolio. It's, no matter what it is, it's making sure they feel like the person that they speak to first, like Tasha and her team, making sure that they feel very comfortable with her on the phone. Yep. Of course, when Giselle comes in, making sure that they this is nerve-wracking for them. They're coming in, they don't know who we are. So making sure Giselle gives them a tour of the office. We have a family wall. It's like our family is everything to us. Some of our kids are always running around the office. It's like making sure that like our families are shown, and making sure that everybody's introduced and that they feel comfortable for the meeting. That to me is client experience, and making sure that if they have a question, we have our SHP portal. If they have questions on that, they know how to navigate their way, and they know who to call if they have an issue with that. If it's Team Derek, Team Matt, Team Keith, Team Joe, whoever the team is, it's making sure they know who to call on the team to get that answer quickly answered for them if they have a question or something like that.
And I think you touched on something that's really interesting, just more the idea of when, let's say, prospects, right? If they see a commercial, or if they'll see, from the podcast or a workshop or a seminar, whatever that may be, and when they first walk into these doors, they really don't know what to expect.
They don't.
Do you see what I mean? It's like, that's something that, okay, well, what is a typical...
Scary.
Yeah, it's scary.
Life-saving.
You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know what they're going to ask you, or like the financial advisor. So, I think one of the biggest things that we tried to obviously instill here was A, as mentioned, to make them very comfortable, but B, to let them know that that we're just regular people. Like, it's very authentic, very down to earth, and we're here to help and here to serve. And I think that's all wrapped up in that experience.
Absolutely, and it's like you all do when you're in your meetings with your clients. We're setting the agenda for our guests entering in the building, no matter which location they're in. It's making them feel comfortable, understanding what's going to happen at this first meeting, making sure they know where the kitchen is if they need a cup of coffee, or just making them feel comfortable. And we have clients come in just walking on Plymouth waterfront, and they just come in maybe with their dog or just by themselves just to say hi, maybe get a cookie from Giselle or something. But it's really important to us, their family.
We had some friends last weekend, and we went out to dinner locally, and then we wanted to, like, hey, can we check out your office? We've never been, because it's kind of, Plymouth, I live in Lakeville, it's a little bit of a hike.
Sure.
So we came into the office, and they were like, wow, this feels like home.
Feels like home.
They're like, who did, like, I know you didn't do this, Derek. Like, who was responsible for this? And I'm like, well, you'll meet Michelle. But yeah, that's the cool part is we take what we do so seriously because people are investing their life savings with us and coming up with this plan they just want to make sure they're going to be okay.
Right,
when they walk in, not only before the appointment, the conversations, the material sent to them.
Yep.
When they walk in, we want them to feel like they have their names in the TV. They're getting cinnamon buns and coffee and warm cookies and popcorn, depending on the time of the day. And sometimes there's some songs playing from their era. Like there's so many little things little touch points that I think help people just feel welcome.
And that makes us have fun. Employees, we have fun too. These are our clients. Like, we just have so much fun too, and it's so important to us. The whole team's dialed in on that. I know they know if Giselle's away from her desk, the next person's just going to come in and make them feel welcome too. It's part of our culture here at SHP.
And like you said, it's not only. And then the thing I'm proud of, Matt, too, is like we have this 24-hour rule. And we obviously want it to be a lot less than that, but if someone has a question, we want it answered. And so we want people to...
Even if we don't know the answer.
Exactly.
We want to recognize the question, right?
Clients know we have a system in place where clients know when not only they feel welcome to call. There's no dumb question, and if they have a question, they'll call. They're going to get a response. And it might, even if we don't have the answer, hey, Mr. Mrs. Jones, we got your email, we got your call. We're going to look into it. We'll touch base with you every day until we have the answer.
We have that answer.
Well, just think of it from their perspective. I think even personally speaking, I've sent off an email and I'm like, did that person get my message? I don't know. Did they get my email?
Are they
I don't know.
Respond?
Everyone gets billions of emails. I'm exaggerating, but every day.
No, you're not.
But you see, we're buried with emails.
Yes.
Long story short,
Yes.
And I think it's just extremely important that we recognize, yes, message received, and yes, we will get back to you.
We've heard you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, from personal speaking, it makes me feel a lot better to know, he got my message, or he or she got my message, and now I know that they're working on it at least. They might not have the answer right off the bat, but I feel recognized.
Absolutely. It's like I always tell the team, it's like a tennis match, right? So you never want to have the ball on your side of the court.
I'm good at
You got to
sending
get
that
rid
thing
of
back.
it. You got to get that right out of here. Yeah, exactly. So it's so true. And back to the office, we want people to feel comfortable. We want people to feel like this is their home. We want people to come and visit, even if they don't have an appointment. It's very important to us. And it makes our team feel real special too, to come to a place like this. You guys do a really good job of really caring for the team and making them feel special. We spend so much time in the office together. Sometimes we're working late, sometimes we're coming in a weekend, which doesn't matter, but it's making it feel like it's not just an office. It's not a cubicle. It's not where we punch in, punch out. It's like truly our second home.
Well, I also the other thing too, Michelle helped coordinate was on every Monday, we have a team meeting. The whole team gets together on Zoom and in person between the 3 different offices and goes through kind of what we need to be working on for that week, what are the main things and so forth. And then we also have a leadership meeting. So our leadership meeting is myself, Keith, Matt, and Michelle. And basically we always joke around Michelle's our boss, right? And so that's also what needs to be worked on, what can be improved.
Keeping you on track.
Right?
Exactly.
Keeping us on track and then also we also do was it 6 months offsite meetings?
We do, yeah.
And so we have our whole team kind of go somewhere offsite, all the team leads. And again, what can we be doing better what's good, what can we do better on, and what should we do even better in terms of basically just how we run our business, how we run each portion, so that you as a client or someone listening, again, it's not just the numbers of dollars and cents and when can I retire. It's you want to make sure you feel welcome, you feel comfortable. And the main thing, what that does over time is really builds trust. Right?
Absolutely. We just had our 6 month offsite. We took the department heads offsite, went through a good old fashioned SWOT analysis. What are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, opportunities and threats? And where do we want to individually all go next year? So we kind of all pull together our ideas, and we actually have a follow up this week or next week. Just what are we going to take these ideas and what are we going to implement? What are our goals going to be for next year? So that's exciting, and our team loves it because they have a voice too to be heard.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say to that point is that voice kind of channels through you. That's one thing personally speaking that I'm very grateful of is I want to know that our employees, our teammates, our shipmates is something that we do say, internally at least. I want them to have a voice in it. I want them to have ownership in it. I want them to come up with ideas because they're primarily on the front lines. They're the ones that are dealing with clients and client questions and client concerns and the experience and whatnot. And so I want that information and that sort of feedback to filter its way up. And then your role here has just been so wonderful to be able to kind of, all right, here's the vibe right now that people are at, because
we need to do this or we don't need to do this.
Right, because one of my biggest things, and I remember this actually from a client on the North Shore, but just more the idea, it's the better your employees are treated, in his opinion, and I agreed, the better your employees are treated or the more that they feel welcome and included and that they have a voice, the better they then will treat the client.
100%.
Do you see what I mean? So it's maybe that's just a golden rule, encapsulated, but I love how you've been able to kind of really have your finger on the pulse of what's happening and then getting that information up to the leadership.
Yeah, and then we tracking all our numbers, right? So it's what's working, what's not, what should we tweak, what should we not tweak, so just going through those and having to be able to take that off your plate, so you can just keep running the business. It's just, that's what I love. That's what I thrive on. And that's why I wanted to be the COO. So,
it also helps.
A great opportunity here.
It helps a ton too, because even like I coached football and I needed time off to get, not time off necessarily, but I couldn't have certain days I had to be out at a certain time. And these are days and years I don't want to miss with the kids that, that we'll never have back. So to have just behind the scenes, some of that stuff happening does provide a little bit of flexibility around scheduling, so that Matt can coach and I can coach and Keith can coach, or just be there for the games or whatever that may be. But I think, like you said, one of the things I didn't realize early on was, you can call it whatever you want, but a lot of people call it culture. In the culture, like you said, Matt, where people feel like they have a voice, they feel welcomed internally. I can't believe, now I can, but I couldn't believe that would have that much of an effect on our clients. And so many of our clients over the years have been like, can I work there? Like they just
absolutely.
It's that good. Can I work there? Can I work there part-time? How do I get a job there? Like laughing and when they feel so comfortable. I mean, so much of our business is referrals,
right?
Because not only we've done I feel like, I don't want to be biased, we've done a really good job in planning and building out, like that part's so important, but they also feel welcome and trusted. Like they know like we're not perfect, but we're going to do everything we can to do as many of the little things right to give them success, to the point where even Michelle has all the different employees come up to hit their bonus each quarter. They have to come up with an idea. Yeah. And like, I'm sure there's 1,000, but one of them was like, hey, we need to send out, when we're sending out something to our clients, we should use a nice gold paperclip. Not that it's real gold. That'd be nice.
Amazon gold.
But it just looks like these clients are important people. Absolutely. Let's make them feel special. Instead of putting the regular silver, let's do gold. Right. And it sounds like a minor thing, but it's all those little touches that make people feel special, I think.
Yeah, and the team feels heard too.
Exactly, because then now that was their idea.
So every quarter they have to come up with an idea, and it's so neat to implement them. We have so many great ideas, and we don't implement all of them, but we do flesh them out and see what's working, what's not, and that makes us not stay stale as a company, right?
Exactly.
And it gives them a voice, which is pretty neat. So.
Exactly. So if you think like now that we've got 43, 44 employees, whatever it is, and if you look at kind of the next 5 to 10 years, what do you see? Like, you thought about that at all?
Oh yeah, keep going. We're not taking, we always get that, like, what are we going to do? So actually that goes back to our vivid vision, so we have a vision as a team, Fire and Foundation, and Matt was a spearhead of that, of course, with input, but every 3 years we update our vision for the team, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, let's lay out the next 3 years. These are our expectations. These are where we want to go together as a team, and we report into it and say, oh, this is where we are. This is where we got to go, and so I do think growth is a big deal, maybe some expansion. We have so many people to help, so many people to serve, that I just don't know that we're taking advantage of all that, right? So, I see expansion, I see just helping more, obviously, clients for us, and then building up our team,
Yeah. Well, and I think that will be sort of our biggest challenge, so Derek, you asked what over our, next 5 or 10 years. I mean, it's like, how do we make sure that experience never changes and only improves, right? How do we make sure that our culture, as we, hire, because as I said, we started, there was 8 people and now there's 41, 42 people, right? How are we able to keep that culture the same, even though our numbers of, not 10 times, 5, we're 5 times as many people now. Right. I mean, I guess it's like, and maybe this is just too tough of a question, but have you thought in terms of that, okay, what will be the best ways of...
It's like quality control, right? How do we quality control our internal team to make sure? And I think that's something that's on the forefront of every one of the team leads here at SHP. We think of that. We talk about that. The directors all get together and have their own director meeting, and they talk about that, making sure we keep that culture alive. It's hiring good talent. Training them. I mean, we have a great training program. Nick and his team. Laura helps. I mean, we just have such a great team to help with that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, talk about something night and day that we did not have at all.
No, right.
As you were saying, we didn't have a job description, much less training.
No, right. I didn't have a job description when you hired me.
No.
Now we do.
But it's even like the last, like this year, we've hired so many, like a few, like I wouldn't say so many, but like amazing talent that I don't think we'd be able to attract 10 years ago.
Yeah, and
I think no way.
I think you're right, and I think it's not just bringing in new people.
No,
it's getting the right team members, the right shipmates. It's that talent and making sure that we have the best talent for our clients.
Yeah,
best talent.
I think some of the things I've realized over the years in some of the success of the firm is a lot of these people have come from corporate America.
Sure.
And
right.
the good thing about Keith, Matt, and I is we kind of grew up pretty blue collar, and we talked about the different things we did as a kid, and Keith on the cranberry bog, and I was drywall and plastering, hay bales. Matt had his stuff going.
Waiting tables, baby.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it.
And so the whole, and I'm just thinking about that now. But basically, if you think about, I think we were never in that corporate thing where everyone's like, you gotta do this, and we're the head people that we're gonna rule over you. So I feel like just being like regular people, and this is not a pat on the back because it's not hard to do. Just be a good person. To the golden rule is treat people how you want to be treated, and not try to
always do the right thing.
Exactly, and I think people know that we can have a conversation and about anything, and we're not gonna feel like there's no issue, like someone has to come to us with a concern, a question.
Well, and I think too, it kind of goes back to what Michelle was saying about the training system. I mean, I love sitting down with, in that process, sitting down with the new hires and kind of sharing our history with them, because I think part of that culture is the history of how, Derek, just me, you and Keith started out and, in our mid 20s, and every client was huge. I mean, and if we lost a client, it was life or death, and trying to, we just express that and tell the story to our new hires. And say, this is why we freak out if you don't get an email back within 24 hours.
Right.
I mean, it's part of our DNA, and now,
we have that
you're a shipmate, we want to be part of yours.
Yeah, no, and we can share that. What worked, what didn't, what we expect, and they appreciate it.
All the war stories. We'd be like, we used to drive to New Hampshire for like a potential $5,000 account. Yeah, the violin's going. I feel like we used to drive to school in the snow, uphill both ways, but no, I always joke around, and I'll still say it. They'll hear it on this podcast, but our advisors have it pretty good. Yeah. Because they have, we used to have to grind, and at least.
I'll never forget, when I first started, you would take an appointment here in Plymouth, then you would drive to Westboro, take one in Westboro, and then go to Woburn, and then you had to get home for dinner with the kids. It's like, I don't know.
All right, now we're going too far. Now we're going too far behind the scenes.
Yeah. No, but you're right. It's but you know what? You're giving the next generation a chance to do that, and you're giving them a path. And you're giving them a team of support that you didn't have, honestly.
That's rewarding. That's one of the most rewarding things to me personally, is not just the company, because it's seeing all the people like yourself,
absolutely,
and Joe Andersons and Marks, and the list goes. I can go on for a whole team, but seeing them build their lives and experiences with their family, and being able to afford a house and to do this, whatever things they want to do and travel. That we like to think that's all part of the foundation we all set many years ago together. But that's super rewarding to see that.
Well, I mean, certainly, and Michelle probably tell you better, but 3 or 4 babies and 3 or 4 weddings and whatnot. I mean, I thought I was done seeing newborns for a little bit.
No, that's this year.
Yeah, all these newborns are coming in, and it's wonderful. It's
so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like little SHP babies, and even we have fur babies. We have all kinds of babies coming into the office. It's pretty special. You just got a new dog too. So
I got a new dog, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like just the growth is just so fun to do it together.
Yeah.
Life is so boring if you don't have each other to do it with, so it's cool.
I was asked a question, so I'm going to give you time to think about it, but I was asked a question on a podcast, I was a guest on a podcast about 6 months ago, and it was like, what would you, if you could, go back to your 25-year-old self, which was 1 year ago?
Yeah, I wish.
Anything that you wish you knew then. For me, it was like, I wish I had more business, ideas of how to run the business, and I wish I knew how important culture and team were at that point. So anything that you think back that you knew now that you wish you knew?
I mean, I always sweat the small stuff. So it's like, I feel like now I don't sweat the small stuff, right? So it's like, back in the day, you had to micromanage things, and I sweat the small stuff when not necessarily here at SHP, my prior life too. It's like, don't sweat it, because it all works out.
Yeah.
It all works out. And I think I put a lot of pressure on myself in that sense. So I would say that would be a big thing for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, Michelle, any final closing thoughts?
No, let's go crush our day. Let's go take a leadership meeting in a team.
I know. Well, thank you, obviously, for everything.
Thank you.
We love doing this together.
Yes,
and thank you, everyone, for listening to the SHP Retirement Roadmap. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Roadmap podcast by SHP Financial. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button so future episodes are automatically downloaded directly to your device. And if you've liked what you heard, please share the show. Create your own little ripples so we can help even more people with their retirement goals. If you want access to all past interviews, including notes, resources, and exclusive content from SHP Financial, visit shpfinancial.com/podcast. Thanks again for joining us on the Retirement Roadmap podcast. And for all the attorneys out there, disclaimers and disclosures, I'm just going to put on my super serious voice and add our own. No statements made during the Retirement Roadmap podcast shall constitute tax, legal, or accounting advice. You should consult your own legal or tax professional on any such matters. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Our investment advisory services are offered through SHP Wealth Management LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance sales are offered through SHP Financial LLC. Our advisors and insurance reps may offer clients advice and/or products from each entity. No client is under any obligation to purchase any insurance product.